Hi, my name is Morgan and I am a neuroscience researcher and I think maybe like a real neuroscience YouTuber now. I have hit 1,000 subscribers and I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has been subscribing and supporting my channel. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. If you would like to be a part of my now 1,000 subscribers, there's a subscribe button. You can hit it. It's free and I would still truly appreciate you. So if you've been with this channel from the beginning, to celebrate 100 subscribers, I brought on some of my fellow graduate students and we did a graduate student meme reaction video, and that's when we're celebrating 1,000. I really enjoy doing this. I really like having my fellow grad students on the channel with me. I like sharing with you guys a little bit of what grad school is like for us. So I thought it was really fun to do last time. We're doing it again. If you enjoy this type of content, let me know in the comments. So I'm not going to spend too long introducing this video, but I just want to say again, thank you so much to everyone who has been subscribing. I truly appreciate you. And if you would like to keep up with me on other social media platforms, I'll have all of my other social medias listed here and also in the description, so you can go check those out if you want to. I'm the most active on Instagram. You can check out my stories to see sort of like what I'm up to in the lab and like what daily life is like. And I also announce whenever I posted new videos on there. Also, because the channel is called Ask a Neuroscientist, if you would like to ask a neuroscientist a question, please email me at askaneuroresearcher@gmail.com, and I will try my best to answer as many people's questions as possible. Before we get into the video though, I do want to do like a little disclaimer here. So on the last meme reaction video, I presented all of the memes to the graduate students. On this one, the graduate students, we all came together and presented memes to each other. As far as I know, none of these memes are our own original content. We have found them from various corners of the internet, so we are not in any way taking credit for any of these memes. We are just presenting memes that we enjoyed. Lastly, because I did bring on my friends and my graduate students, and this is a celebratory video and less of an educational video, I try to keep most of my content pretty PG-13, so it can be shared with any science lover out there. But in this video, I told the graduate students that I wasn't going to monitor what they say. I wasn't going to bleep anything out. So there may be some cursing. As far as I remember, I don't think we said anything else that was too awful, but if you're sensitive to cursing or you don't want to listen to that, I won't be offended. Go check out a different video. It's fine. So with all that out of the way, I'll have the graduate students introduce themselves and then we'll move on to the memes. Hi, my name is Morgan and my project is focused on studying how oxytocin and dopamine affect motivation and behavior in female rats.
Hi, I'm Mare and I study dopamine and motivation.
Hi, I'm Amandine and I'm interested in the structure of the memory system in kids.
Hi, I'm Jake, and I study endocrine disrupting chemicals, or EDCs. These look like hormones, and they can cause developmental diseases that can persist over multiple generations. And so I'm trying to use stem cells as a way to figure out what cell types are susceptible and how it can be passed.
Hey, just butting in real fast to let you guys know that Jake actually has his own shop where he sells his artwork. So I will put links to his online store and to his Instagram in the description, and I'll like show a little bit of it here. But he sells artwork that he's made, and I believe there's stickers and clothing and stuff like that on his website as well. So if you would like to support a really awesome scientist and a really awesome artist, go check him out. Who wants to do the first meme, I guess?
Oh, I've got them good.
Office meme.
By the way, like I've watched The Office probably all the way through like 8 or 9 times.
Oh yeah, that used to be what I put on like while I was studying, because I was like, I know
like
this
that's
so well.
it.
Well, it's weird because like yeah, just like that's it. I've got the DVD because they took it off Netflix, and so now I have to like switch out the discs every time I go like halfway through the season. That's commitment. Takes time.
I want to buy the DVDs because I kind of miss it. But I will not subscribe to Peacock. Like, this is getting ridiculous.
But anyways, as far as this meme goes, there was in my old lab, we had like right whenever I got there, we bought like a P2, and I was like so protective of it. Like I didn't let anyone touch it because I was like, you cannot mess this up because it's so accurate and like so tiny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I have an office meme that I can send as like a follow-up.
Perfect. All of mine are going to be office meme snaps. I just want you to know this right now.
We can make this office themed.
Well, I didn't know it was going to be office themed.
This is not
office themed plus wherever Amandine sends.
I have one of these too.
Way to single me out.
I've never watched. I hate the show. I don't know what you guys are talking about. This is terrible.
I'm ready to get hurt again. Oh my God.
That makes me so sad.
I mean,
This one's
that's always-
particularly relevant for me because I just submitted my paper and I've submitted it to a few journals already, and they just reject it at the desk. And then for the next journal, you have to put so much work into reformatting for their guidelines. And so it's like every time where my PI is like, "Are you ready to resubmit?" I'm like, "Okay, I'm ready to get rejected again."
Yeah. That happened to me. That happened to me too. I submitted, so I submitted to a journal, got rejected right away. And now every time I see that someone published in that journal, I feel so angry. Like, I'm like, what? This was published.
Yeah.
Like, mine was better. Yeah.
Here, I got one. I have one to follow up that.
Another Office Michael Scott meme.
No, I've only got like one more of those.
I mean, the dude's profile picture looks like Michael Scott.
That's
He's
true.
It's
That's,
so
you know, it's
true.
I hate that, like, because when you do the grants, like they just tear you up, and then you have to be like, "Oh, thank you, you're so wise. Thank you for just destroying me. Oh, you're so great."
Yeah.
Yeah,
I always love wherever people point out, like, this was clearly a response to a reviewer comment.
Yeah.
I think you can tell, like, in the manuscript when info was added, that it was just a response.
Yeah.
But my PI says, like, last time I did a response to a reviewer, she said I was too nice and that I didn't need to be that nice. Like, so now I try to not be like, "Oh, thank you for the great comment. We thank the reviewers." She's like, "No, you need to be a little bit more like blunt about it."
Like, I guess I'll give you that information. Whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah. Be like, fine, I'll put that in here.
I know.
If I must. I would hate that though, because you'll see like such like you'll see these huge gaps with who is it, Dr. Blank, because I can't say his name. He said one time, he's like, "You read a paper, and it'll get to this great thing. It's like, and here we empirically discover the existence of God, data not shown." And you're like, "Oh, okay, that's cool."
Yeah.
And they get me, and they're just like, "You need to show like 5 more figures for this very common procedure." I'm like, "Do I though?"
That's why I always get upset, like, reading old papers, and they're like, I did one very basic, like, experiment, and I discovered, like, this huge thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's like,
And they get to publish in Science with like one figure.
yeah.
And it's usually not the best figure.
Yeah.
I love,
No,
like, the
no.
really old ones where there's, like, some hand-drawn stuff in there, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, if we tried that now.
Oh, the old paper that, like, look at EEG or eventuality potentials. The figures are so ugly, they hurt my soul.
Right.
Like, I'm like, how is this ever
Talks like a
published?
couple times. Yeah, and they get like, they look like it's just like one bar graph, and you're like, wow,
Like,
super good.
okay. If I do that now, I'm getting rejected right away.
Deciding to quit, deciding not to quit.
Yeah, my favorite part is I'll use doctor on my email because I feel like I've thought about that so many times.
Yeah. I've been trying to figure out how to, like, casually sign off with, like, GRFP fellow just to give me, like, a little bit extra.
You're like bolding it.
Yeah.
Gosh, I need to get one of those sign off things at the bottom of my emails. That would be nice. Now, there's so much. I feel like you have to be a master of everything by the end of your project. Like, you have to know way too much. Yeah,
Exactly.
we wear hats.
No, yeah.
Also, I love the saying "that's broken." Like, that's just that's the whole thing.
That's right.
It's suboptimal.
I mean, crying is not that much, like, on their graph. I feel like
It should
If
be
I'm
larger.
driving, I'm crying. I mean, I feel
You
like
just-
it's like I save it till the drive home, and then I'm just sitting there listening to like Alicia Keys. I'm just like,
I was in someone's lab one time who said, like, if you don't cry while you're in the lab, then you're not, like, doing research properly. And I was like,
yeah.
What? That's
such a warped
terrible.
view, though.
Yeah.
See, but I
Yeah.
had the other side of it where like my boss would be like, "There's no place for tears in science," and you're like, "Well, that's really fucked up."
I know. I feel like there's a lot of tears inside.
There's a lot-
Here's
I
one
like-
about how sad we are. Just
Okay, let's get sad, guys. Let's get sad.
I feel like it gets better though, like towards
That's
the
me
end.
right now.
Like now that I'm not collecting any data, I feel much happier.
Yeah, now you're on the other
Really?
side of the massive mountain. You've come out, you've seen light, and you're like, oh, I'm free.
Yeah.
The end is
one of
so
the best
close.
parts, though.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, well, and so like it's it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. But man, it sucks. That journey sucks.
Yeah.
What the heck?
It's a bad journey.
It's like you're going uphill the whole way. Can I get like a little bit of like a little slope?
Okay, I can send another meme.
Go ahead.
All right, I will send the next one.
Okay, it involves Titanic. I love it.
I thought it was fun because my family keeps on asking me like when I'll be done with
This
school.
one,
and I'm just
if
like,
Lorena was here, this
never.
one would be perfect for her.
Well, but also I feel like my family, they don't necessarily understand that this is actually more a job than, studying.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I do no study anymore. Like I don't study for a class anymore.
Jake, come back.
It's been 84 years.
Oh no, he left.
I
Uh-oh.
had to exit.
I love these PhD comic things.
I know.
Whoever makes them understands.
And like in short, I did research. I have finished nothing. I've accomplished
Yeah.
nothing.
I have nothing to show for it, but I did it.
I sat at my desk and worked all week.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true though. Like you can't have significant updates from week to week.
Yeah. Especially the stuff that I'm doing right now, like one experiment takes a month. And so every time the PI like asks how it's going, I'm like, I did an experiment, but like I don't know the data yet.
No, yeah, that's kind of the same thing in human research. I mean, we have to collect, kids, I had to collect like 100 plus kids, and my study wasn't done until I had 100 plus kids. So
Oh my
took
gosh.
years.
That
Yeah.
feels like so much more effort too, because you can't just like order a kid. Like
Yeah,
you make an extra.
I can, and you have to work with like the parents, right? Like the parents' schedule, the parents' flakiness, and then when they come, you actually have to talk to them.
Yeah.
How
Sounds
awful.
awful. Yeah.
You have to be a human, social, and everything.
Yeah, I joined science to not talk to people. Thank you.
Exactly. Like that's the reason I decided not to go to med school. Was not interactive.
I didn't want to talk.
There's like that too, and then like anytime you have to do any kind of coding thing, they're like, okay, well, stop what you're doing for about 2 years and learn everything about coding, and then you can start your experiments.
Oh,
You're like, cool, can't wait.
okay, wait.
I like the
there's another one?
SpongeBob meme too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So that one's actually directed
Nice.
at. She's not here, but she had to do. She had to do like something like 5 or 6 like RT-PCR, QR-PCR plates. Gosh, like last week. And she doesn't get to use any like the fancy like cyber greens that you can see which well you were just in. So like it's all clear dots. And I was like, how do you do that? She's like, oh, it's just boxes of tips, just infinite boxes of
Oh
tips.
my
And
gosh.
I used to work in a lab
Wow.
with a grad student who had a rheumatoid arthritis, and so she would
Oh.
have to like, so, like if it was like
Wow.
acting up, she would come to me and be like, "Can you pipette all of this like stuff for me?" And like,
Oh.
Wow, that's such a big deal when you're working in a lab to not be able to do that yourself though.
I know I felt awful. She had like a hand brace, and I was like, she was trying to like pipette with like her thumb like sticking up. I was like,
Wow.
I felt bad.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the slog. That's where you go. Man, that's
Yeah.
tough.
That meme reminds me, I used to work in a pharmacology lab, and I
Oh,
used
yeah.
to do like over 100 injections a day, like with the syringes. And I used to look at the
Wow.
pile of syringe at the end of the day. And I was like, man, this is
Yeah, right.
so much.
Yeah.
God.
I used to work in a lab that had like 3 mice, and so you had to like inject tamoxifen. And I don't know why they needed so many mice, but like you had to inject like 20 mice like 5 days in a row, and so you would end up with like 100 just syringes, just that you had to like
Just
fill
for-
all over. Like,
Yeah.
See, but then like post-apocalyptic, if anybody needs to get injected, they go to you. You've got it done. You're doing your
Yeah.
skip like your little tent pole, and you're like, whoop, whoop, whoop.
There you
that's
go.
what the lab that I'm in now asked me if I knew how to do IP injections. I was like, I got this. I've done many of those.
These are the best ones.
I like this meme on Dean. I feel like it's the
I know,
same
but
thing can
see,
apply to grants too. You're ready to
Love
submit
that.
a grant when you can't stand to look at it anymore too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for papers, it's the same. Like I
Yeah.
always tell my PI, and once I resubmit or like the final version, I'm like, I'm never gonna look at this again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you ever have the thing too? Because there's like a bunch of memes where like it'll be the name of the file gets progressively more like weird. It's like final
Yeah.
file.
Final,
Like,
Yeah.
final file, like just gibberish at the end of it. And you're just like, yep.
That's why I started just putting the date at the end, because the like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
many finals like just made me sad.
Yeah.
No,
and
yeah.
you have to remember at what point you kind of like gave up and it's like it got bad and it's just you have to go off the date and you'd be like, that was 2 months ago. I should go back that far. That was good. That was a good time then.
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
put the date, but like sometimes there's like error. I use OneDrive, so sometimes there's error in uploading. So I put like the date and then real, and then the realness just increases.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, these are like real.
I used to do that with assignments, and then I felt like so weird because I'd be like submitting an assignment that at the end was like the real one.
Because it was a fake one, apparently.
Yeah.
I felt like that because I was one of those undergrad students and I don't know if I can say the biggest dick that ever swung. That was the feeling
You
of
were so proud.
any kind of credit on anything. And it was a terrible paper. It went into like PLS 1 and then I was like, yeah, I'm out. You can find me, Google me.
That's
Nice.
funny. And then it's the initial, they put your initial for the contribution, and it's like,
Mhm.
blah did that one part of the analysis.
Yeah.
So
And
like
then,
my first PI asked me like if I get put on any of her papers, she was like, what should I like put your name as? And like I told her,
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh my god, I'm about to get published. And then like it took like 3 years for the paper to get published because I was
Yeah.
like, but I was like telling everyone, I was like, I've been published, like it's in review, it's fine.
For 3 years.
yeah,
I don't
no.
know if you've heard. I don't know if you know. I'm kind of a big deal.
I'm kidding. I felt that way too. Because I got a paper out of that pharmacology lab, but like it has nothing to do with my research now. So I'm
Sick.
like, if someone looks at my paper, they're gonna be like, what did she do? Like she went from rats to humans.
Yeah.
No,
like it
that's
doesn't
totally
make
fine.
sense.
Yeah, no, take it. I mean, my boss, he started off in like chickens, and now he's gone through like every other species. He just,
He just keeps
all
jumping
over the
up.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very good.
take it. Credit is credit, man.
I don't think I deserved it that much, but like I felt the same way, like, oh, I got published.
I think just
You
being able to
probably
say like I
deserve
have a
both.
paper.
I have one paper. Try to finish a damn paper.
Yeah. I love any like every time I search for brain memes, it's always like a Pinky in the Brain meme because they're like,
Yeah.
this is what people want.
Yeah.
I love this. I was part of a writing challenge the past 2 weeks, and every day we had to log in like our progress and what our goals were. And my goal was the same every single day, like finish
Finish the
chapter
paper.
3.
Oh my God.
And I was like, yeah, I just finished the paper, you know?
Just like you wait for somebody to write, just like do science.
Yeah,
Just do science.
to do science.
What are you doing today? Science.
Science. Writing. You just
Writing.
you say, I'm doing writing.
Crying.
No one's gonna
Crying.
question that. I'm writing.
I can get a good cry on. We'll get it. It's going good. It is much. Yeah, it's exactly that. That's nice because you'll get it like you had this idea of what it's supposed to be, and it's completely different.
It's always
It
wrong.
just, it's always wrong.
That's what I like. Genuinely, the other day I had to sit down with Mary and be like, so how do I graduate? Like, how do I finish this?
How can we get there? Well,
Yeah.
I would add like have no idea what I'm doing or why I'm doing it sometimes.
That's how it feels doing these rotations. I'm like, someone please give me some background information. I have no clue why we're doing this.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
Keep pushing.
I feel
Yeah.
like grounding it sometimes, like find yourself a big significance, and then you'll be like,
Yeah.
okay, I can keep doing that.
Yeah.
What's great because like you even will have these amazing speakers come in and they're like the people who discovered CRISPR-Cas, and the original idea they had for why they were designing it was so out of the park. Like like all of the sequencing stuff, they had like the single cell where it's encapsulated in a droplet of oil. that was designed for something completely different. And the guy who had that, one of the most transformative technologies, he was like, yeah, it was cool. At the time, I had no idea what it was going to be. That was like one of my side projects. It became the biggest thing. And I was just kind of like, yeah, I can put a cell in a drop of oil. I don't know.
Wow.
Oh my
That's a good
god.
name.
Yeah, dude.
Very
I
true.
feel like there's so many times where like, because your PI hasn't, well, for some PIs they do a lot of grant writing, and they haven't been on the bench in a very long time, and so they have these grandiose things that they want, and you're like, no, please don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to have a PI who would walk in at like this was when I was a research tech, so I was working like pretty solid like 9 to 5 hours, and she would walk in at like 4 and be like, okay, so do you have enough time to like do all of these experiments? And I'm like, no, I do not. We cannot.
Hey,
They just don't realize like how long experiments take. No.
Exactly.
yeah, but then you see that, and then it's like the best lesson for how you should do experimental design in the future. Like, I will never make myself do that again. And then we're punishing some PhD in the far future and being like, ha ha ha, do it.
Yeah, you're just like
you're
so
gonna
far
figure out-
removed from it. They like forget how it is.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you do the science? What's wrong with you? Come on, just.
But you'll probably just be the same way, Jake. You'll be like, why aren't you doing all these experiments that I told you to do?
When I was a grad student, I was doing 60-hour days.
Exactly. We're
Yeah.
gonna be like back in my day, we used to like never get days
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Back in my day, I lived through COVID. I had to do research in a lab while people were dying.
Did research during the plague.
Yeah.
Do it. Just do the science. Come
You
on.
probably exaggerate a bit. I'll do this one because it's on theme.
I love that.
That's good.
Okay, I have a related one then to the theme. It's my last theme.
The kid is like,
Exactly.
so why do cat purrs?
Why do that?
Yeah.
Does anybody know?
It's something like in their vocal cords.
Yeah, it's
like-
vibrations.
Yeah, but sometimes they purr for like different reasons. Because like my cat purrs whenever she's like playing and like about to attack something. And so like if she purrs, it's not a good sign.
Yeah, there's like cats who purr when they're in pain,
Yeah.
but others that just purr, when they're needing. So that's
Yeah.
good. That's pure bliss.
I love this meme so much.
How many
Oh
tabs
my
do you have?
gosh.
Dude,
I always have
I'm very
tabs open.
stressed about that. Yeah, like, do you have like 15 tabs open when you use your browser, or are you just like,
Of course.
Way
I
more than
hate-
15.
I
More like
hate having
70.
tabs open. So what I do is I have like a Word document that just has a ton of links that I'm like,
That's so
Oh,
like,
much
okay.
worse. That is so
I
much
see
worse.
It is
Well,
because I don't know what any of the links go to. So I just
that's-
like
No.
open it.
You can switch back and forth. I had
If-
oh, go ahead.
no, that gives me anxiety. Like, if it gets to the point where I can't read which each
Yeah.
of the tabs are, I'm like, no.
So Google
Oh, yeah,
Chrome
same.
actually now you can combine your tabs. So if you have a big group of tabs, you can combine them into one tab and then you
What?
expand that tab
Wow.
whenever you want. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna put all my like 2 read papers like
Into
combine
one.
Just,
That's pretty
yeah.
smart. Hey, I'm learning stuff today, guys. There you go.
yeah, I didn't know that
Yeah.
was a thing. I
Yeah,
had
you have to, like
Cats purr, how to work on the browser.
cats purr.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. I had one of my lab mates making fun of me because I open Excel files, like all of them. And I had
Yeah.
like 20 Excel files open. Like it was literally so tiny. And she made a video of it because she found it hilarious. And I was like, why is that funny? Like,
Oh my god.
Are you recording me right now? What are you doing?
she thought it was the funniest thing. I'm like, everyone does that, no? Question mark.
Oh, don't make me
I get
on
really
email.
bad about because on Excel you can do the like open in a new window and you can have like each of the tabs open. Like I do that every time because I'm like I'm too lazy to click between tabs, so I'll just have them like all over my screen. But it's like the same sheet technically.
That's funny. Oh my gosh, that is that email that you send with a
Yeah,
test
I
is,
said it back then when you got it.
and then when you get the response, you're like, oh my.
Oh yeah, they're sitting there just like, I'm gonna tear this kid up. I'm gonna just destroy.
Just the whole document comes back in red. Just like
Oh, like
yeah.
it's even worse too if they send it back and they say it's fine and no edits, and you're like, nope.
What?
nope.
That never
it's definitely not.
happens.
You're
That
like,
has never happened to me. Like usually it's a pretty good draft, and then you open it and everything is red.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. You did all right this time, and it's just completely changed.
That's why I got so stressed. Like whenever our PI sent me back a like my GRFP, he eventually was like, "Okay, you can submit this one," and I was like, "Can I? Can I send it in now?"
Wow, that's like magic words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He will always have comments, so he has to stop himself because the comments never end.
Well, because you get out to like version 8 and you're like, all right, come on, let's start wrapping this
Yeah,
up.
once you go for full circle, so like the original comments he was making, he comes back and like makes those comments again. That's when you know it's ready.
It's ready.
Yeah, like at one point he came back and he was like, "Okay, so you know that experiment I told you to take out? We're gonna put that back in," and that's why we're like, "We're done."
And that's when you know it's ready.
It ends up being the exact same as the first draft. You're like, okay,
yeah.
But that's supposed to happen, right? Like something in the first draft, take that off, and then last version, take it.
Yeah.
Why didn't you talk about this? Well, I did, but
I feel like they do that on purpose, like just to mess with us.
I don't think so.
You think they forget?
Yeah.
They're like, oh.
They need those memory drugs, ginkgo biloba or whatever.
I love when it's something like I suggested doing an experiment one time and they're like, "No, we probably shouldn't do that," and then later they're like, "Hey, I had this great idea." Like, let's.
All right, I've got one more that goes along with that.
Another office.
No,
Oh,
this is
no.
I have a lot of SpongeBob in Office. That's my go-to. Yeah, I feel like it's always hard. Like if you want to bring up any new idea to your PI, there's always a pushback. There's always like, no, not here, not today, not how
Especially
we do.
when I'm like trying to convince them to not have to do an experiment. I'm like, oh, could I just not do this experiment? They're like, no, you have to do it.
Figure it out. Yeah.
Just trying to get out of doing an experiment.
Yeah.
Like, and then stuff like happens. So like we had a post, so that like our bosses will have like other PIs that they don't like because they have differences in ideas and stuff. And then you'll see like the postdocs go to that lab and the PIs get so sad. And I was like, hey man, you're a little bit more understanding because the data's kind of pointing that way. You might be on the head of the curve.
I feel so bad whenever like the feuds get in the way of like really good collaborations, because sometimes I'll be like, "Why aren't these two PIs collaborating?" And they're like, "Because they hate each other."
Wow.
I love that one, Amandina. I always find typos like after it's been submitted.
Yeah. That's why I don't go back and like reread anything. I'm just like, it's definitely disgusting. I'm not gonna look at it.
Yeah. There's we can't change it. So what's the point?
See, but like that's the thing, like that to me is stressful. After you send something, it's too late. It's gone. I remember there's this time I was like getting ready for my QE, my oral QE or something like that, and you have to send over your
the proposal.
Project. I misspelled assess and I put it as asses.
No.
Oh, that was a fun day. And it was like literally the first thing. It was like aim to asses.
Oh my
Imagine
God,
if that was like not a typo.
Wow.
Work in a very weird kind of lab.
I know. Did they comment on that?
Yeah, Brian. One of the PIs sent back. He says, "Hey Jake, what are you doing to asses in aim to?"
Like, of course you misspelled the one word that becomes inappropriate.
Yeah. I'll send one more so we have like a proper last meme.
All right, last meme. No pressure.
It has to be funny.
That's a good last meme.
There you go.
The memes are good, but the rest is bad.
Talking with you guys about memes. That's what gets through
So
this.
good. At what cost? I love it.
Yeah.
It's true. If it was all easy and fun, we wouldn't have memes.
Right?
That's true.
I mean, what
Comedy
what
comes
kind
from
of
tragedy, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Tears of a clown.
definitely.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys doing this. It's been fun.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thanks
I
for
like
the
cooking.
Thanks for putting this together.
Yeah, thank you.
Congrats on your 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it 1,000? Yeah.
All right, so that was all the memes that I had for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, thank you so much to everyone who's been subscribing and supporting me. I really appreciate you, and I'm super excited that people are really even interested in what I have to say. It blows my mind that anyone cares at all, but I really, really appreciate it, and I'll keep on putting out new videos every Wednesday. So I guess I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Bye.